it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. A few years ago, we talked a lot about critical terrain. It was a pretty common subject that I had. Sort of fell off of that a little bit. It's not that I don't believe there's critical terrain in the game, but things change quite a bit, especially with the autoloaders, the increase in alpha, the map changes, things like that. So keeping track of all the critical terrain can be a challenge. I think it's a good thing actually if it changes around a little bit. But in this case, on this map, we're on Fisherman's Bay and I'm bottom tier and a heavy. I've gone up to this spot, and it's not a spot I play a whole bunch. These bushes are kind of notorious right here for being easy to see through for scouts, and especially on this side, for some reason, they're not very good. People have done tests on them. They don't think they're full camo bushes. There's all kinds of things. It's pretty close. So burn through is a thing, and CVS and all the other stuff. Mediums at tier 8 can have a CVS and above, yada yada. But I think it's still, this is a really important place, the middle part of Fisherman's Bay right here. You can use actually the western side to good effect, depending on if you have a fast tank, a light tank, a medium, or something. But since I'm bottom tier, I have a couple choices. I could go down in the city and hang out with the guys down in the city, down that way, there we go, down in the city, or I could go maybe snipe or even push up a little bit on the other side. All decent ideas, because this has a pretty decently accurate gun, to be honest with you. But I didn't really see anybody going here, although initially there wasn't anyone. Now we've got a Progetto moving up. So I'm going to go up to what I consider some of the more important terrain on this map, but not necessarily terrain I use a whole bunch, especially in a heavy tank. But we're going to see how it works out for me, because what's interesting about this game, a lot of things are interesting about this game, but to me anyway, is it's not necessarily just about doing damage. I thought he was going to get me hit by somebody shooting into where he just pushed up. Watch what happens to him, by the way. All right, he's getting shot in the side, fellas. He's being shot from the middle. And if we take a look at it, it is probably 200 Alpha. I don't remember which tank it was. Oh, it's the Mutts. So he's getting shot in the side from the Mutts, who is right about hither in this bush, and you can see that angle. There's a cutout right there, by the way. So, and he's over angled for the Mutts. Mutts, yeah. So the Mutts is shooting him now. He's just shifted just enough that now the Mutts can't hit him. There's no artillery in this game. He just got hit again by the Mutts, and again. And again. So I think somebody else joined in. The Progetto just got absolutely obliterated. Good news for me is I wasn't seen getting in there like he was. And there's my example of those bushes being a little cheesy right there. I just happen to be covered up by the building, and I'm just trying not to move. I'm like, please don't see me. So the interesting thing about this game that Scorpion just drove out and took a hit too is the stuff you can do to help win that's not necessarily just pure damage. Obviously there's assist, so either spotting or tracking. That's always good. There's assist that doesn't necessarily count as points, as in you're assisting somebody. Maybe presence by your gun, presence by your hit points, those kinds of things. So there's that kind of assist that doesn't necessarily come with points, but with the assist and the tracking stuff, you get more experience. And if you're grinding, you're trying to build up a crew, you're trying to get credits in the game, the more things you do in the game, the more of those points you get. Now, damage, assist, kills, and winning, those are all important things that can increase that. You don't get a lot of assist being a 4005 in the back corner. Is that a good place for him right now? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's not me. I'm in a heavy tank. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to try to work some things. Now, you might notice I have all zeros. For the moment, I'm just trying to hold tight and see what's going on. I can see that we're doing okay down in the city. And I'm really just looking around, trying to decide how I want to go about this particular spot. And now I'm the only guy here, right? So now I feel like this is even more important for somebody to be here. Scorpion took a hit, poking. The Progetto got mauled, poking. Should I poke and do the same dumb thing they did? Absolutely not. So we're going to hang out here for a bit. 110 E5 has moved up a little bit, and then we find this dude. I'm like, all right, now we got some opportunities. Let's put a shot on that guy. Fantastic. One of the reasons this spot is so good. I figure he's far enough away, he's probably not going to see me. I'm glad nobody else was closer. Another shot goes in, that'll work. Scorpion's moved up. There we go. Very nice. And I did get seen there. All right, so somebody moved around, or maybe while he was moving, he went into the open, or there's another tank around, but he's behind some stuff. Bit of a lucky shot, but I'll take it. I did have a highlight. Not a great spot if you have arty. Once I got spotted there, you could start to get bombed by arty, so you got to be careful. The other thing is, and probably everyone is screaming, if there's a big boy down there, a big TD somewhere in those trees, they can shoot you into the side here. So I'm not saying this is an absolutely magical spot. It is an it depends situation. You got to be careful. But as of right now, based on what I'm seeing, I don't think there's anyone there, because look at how many light bulbs we have on the enemy team over there. We're only missing the Mutts, and I'm pretty sure he was last seen there based on the damage. I didn't really talk about that, but I'm guessing the Mutts because of the alpha that was hitting the guy. I don't see anyone else there with an alpha of about 240. That's it. I think the only guy that could have been doing that damage was the Mutts. I think they also, another guy hit him for 300 and some more, so there was something else in there. Also a clue. Somebody else is in there. The Nomad's been seen around, so that's about Nomad damage. These are all clues you can get based on watching what's happening around you. Our heavies are doing a decent job, and I'm sort of expecting them to start moving up, and I'll be able to maybe get some more damage as they light guys in the back. There is a grill down there. Remember, I mentioned that sitting in this position, if you get lit, you can be shot from below, and the grill's about in that spot, although he's kind of in the city. We'll see where he shows up if we can get any shots. The 5041, I noticed him going there and do his autoloader thing and put some good hits on the 125. 38, that must have been HE or something. Somebody shot HE maybe. The Scorpion's still messing around, so we're going to hang out here for a bit. 125 dies, and that makes me feel good. I'm going to take a little poke here because I'm kind of curious. Is there anybody here? That's what I'm looking for. Let's see if I can surprise him. All right, the Mutts is there, and guess what? Ouch, I get hit by 2. The 5051 is there as well. Maybe not the greatest move, but it did let them know what's there. The 5051 and the Mutts. At least the 5051 I lit. I did not light the Mutts. Mutts was doing a nice job. He's taking all his shots, and I'm getting no lights off that guy. Incredible. I'd like to get this guy lit again and see if my buddies can get shots from below. They're starting to work into that position. Maybe a little early for that, to be honest with you, because they're kind of busy killing the Lurva, and there's a grill in there, and none of them are really at the edge here where they can shoot. Notice how they're kind of all further in town, so I'm not really going to do any good lighting. In fact, I'm endangering myself a lot. If the grill has fallen back any, I could eat a 750 alpha here pretty easily. I'm not saying I always do everything right. The other thing I know that we've got going on is we're winning by a mile. It's 8-1. The guys on the other side have done a decent job. The city has owned them and not lost anyone but a 44-100, which lost on the other side. There's the grill. So he's so far back, he's of no use to anybody really. A little bit of a rush shot. 4005 is now out in the open. I don't want to drive out in the open and get just taken down by the 5051, but I'm starting to feel like I'm going to miss out on some hit points of damage. So let's just use these buildings and see if we can't light somebody. There you go. There's a fella right there. Maybe I can hit the 4005. Boom, there we go. All right, whatever. Mutts gets a piece of me, no big deal. He's lit. People shooting at him. Probably should have just backed up and killed the 4005. That was a terrible effort right there. I tried to do the third-person shot, but sucks to suck. Sucks to suck. We got 2,431 assist, 1,039 damage. Now we're just trying to find that last bit of damage. We've got a T95 hanging out over there. He's down low. 590's over there. The 5051 is hanging out way in the back. Really? Oh, he's upside down. Nice. There we go. 325 action. There's the Nomad. And now we'll start pushing. Lately, I've been, because I play pretty aggressively. I've made some relatively bad aggressive pushes into camping things, and I'm the guy that dies first. So probably a little more careful than I really wanted to be right there, to be honest. I don't think I get any more damage. There's a big hit, 754 into the T95, and he just eats it. Getting shot from multiple directions, and that's it. So bottom tier heavy, went to an important spot, not really setting the world ablaze with damage. We got 1,300 out of it. We did do some spotting, and a lot of that game was me watching the city do its work and looking for an opportunity. And once we see them moving, now I start kind of pushing because I've maintained hit points. Poking and prodding around in the middle because I want to break down that middle defense so that the guys in the city now can start killing them. What I don't want to do is hang out there. And then the problem, what happens here, often on this map is we win down here in the city, or wherever it is, that way. Down here in the city, and the guys push out into the open, and the enemy guys here on the south side of the top of them or the middle of the map just shred them. All right, maybe there's a spotter back here, or they're seeing them from here, and the guys, if we have anyone in the middle, they're not helping. Just got to look for the timing and the opportunity to get out there and start lighting those guys up. I lost some hit points doing that, but I let the guys know where they were, and pretty quickly they start getting into a crossfire, and it's really unsurvivable if you have somebody up top in these buildings with some hit points, and your team wraps into the southern part of the city and is down here now and all this cover. This position where they were is basically now in a crossfire. It's unsurvivable. They die pretty quickly right there. You also saw that we had won the other side, so add that western win to the whole thing, and now you got a 15-2, right? That's about halfway through when you started to see the collapse. You're talking about a game that's probably going to be won no matter what, right? Because of all the crossfires. But that's how this game works. It's how it goes. If you can keep your hit points and keep your position, you go to important spots, a flank gets won, be a bit patient, look for it, and then be ready to use your hit points to get some spots, get some lights, get that good experience, because all that's a 3,700 or so, almost 3,800 combined. So again, not lighting the world on fire, but a pretty decent game for a tier 8 heavy in a tier 10 battle. There you go. That is all I've got for today. Important places. Go there. Work them well. See ya.